The St. Louis Rams traveled to Buffalo today in what they hoped would be the first of a 4-game stretch that would help propel them into the playoffs for the first time since the 2004 season, 2005 NFL playoffs. Two defensively minded teams that obviously imposed their will for the majority of the game, but it was really the fourth quarter that ended up deciding this one. And let's be honest, what it was sloppy at times, it was nonsensical, it was a bit unenjoyable, but in the end, it was lovable. Kind of like your 3-year-old daughter's representation of a purple and eczema-scarred butterfly. It's the 2012 Rams are what they are. They're not an offensive juggernaut. We saw that today for the first half. For the majority of the first half, save that last possession, the offensive line looked horrible. They couldn't get the running game going. Sam Bradford was, all but screaming his head off, demanding and hoping for a wide receiver to surface from out of nowhere to save him from having to go to guys like Steve Smith, Chris Givens bobbling balls on the outside. He finished 19 of 39 for just 209 yards, a late touchdown and an interception. It wasn't a pretty game. Ryan Fitzpatrick, to be honest, did a better game of managing his offense, 25 of 33 for 247 yards, a touchdown, and that late interception to seal the game. But he also was left wanting. Couldn't find somebody to extend some of those drives. It wasn't happening in the running game. Steven Jackson and Daryl Richardson combined for 22 runs, 68 yards, just over 3 yards per carry. C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson, who got injured late in the game, for their part didn't fare that much better. 16 carries for 51 yards, not a huge impact. And, just under 3.2 yards per carry. So now the rushing game was all that dominant. Really what the game came down to, because the defenses were so consistent and so strong, was the fourth quarter. After the Bills secured a 6-0 lead at halftime, going into halftime, and both teams traded points. The Rams got that touchdown in the third quarter from Steven Jackson. Bills would get their own 6 and mess up the extra point. It was a defensive game, and going into the fourth quarter, it was about who got points. The Rams got 8 and the Bills got none. It was a huge play after a huge drive from Brandon Gibson, finished with 6 catches, 100 yards in that, enthralling touchdown catch. 9 targets, so just 6 catches on 9 targets. 2-point conversion came from Chris Givens. He wasn't all that much of a factor in Danny Amendola's absence, who was ruled out. 3 catches for 25 yards, no touchdowns. He had 10 targets, so he was obviously the player that Sam was trying to go to more often than not. But the Bills did a fine job at negating his impact on the game, albeit the 2-point conversion that you could argue was his most impactful play. Look, you put two defensive-minded teams together, and this is a lot of times, especially in December when teams really care, this is what comes out. It was only the second road win for the Rams. They're now 1-3 against the AFC East. It's not pretty, but things are trending in the right direction, and that's really what you want when you come down to this 3-game stretch that they have to close out the season. Bringing Minnesota to St. Louis is going to be a huge, huge game that St. Louis is going to need the fans behind them in that one. Minnesota's sitting at 7-6 after they got a big win against Chicago today. At Tampa Bay 2 weeks from now. Tampa Bay, obviously, the recipient of a demoralizing loss at the hands of Nick Foles and the Eagles, sitting at 6-7. Then they go to Seattle to finish again in Week 17. Yes, 2010 memories. It's all resurfacing. I lost all the memories that had gone into that because it was painful, but it could be setting up yet again for a Week 17 game to get into the playoffs against Seattle, in Seattle. They're 7-5 right now, but right now they're stomping the Cardinals and look to be improving a game better. So look, it is what it is. The 2012 Rams, great defense, workable special teams for the most part, maybe even good, but obviously as young as they are with the specialist and punter Johnny Hecker and Greg Zuerlein, kicker Legatron, young Jeezy. They've got the parts to really improve. The question is the offense, and yet again, we have no answer to that question. It looks like it's going to be something they'll have to address in the offseason, but given what we've got for 2012, it's good enough to put them in position, and that's better than what we've had in years past. So follow us on Facebook, Twitter, like us on YouTube, Facebook, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. That'll get all of them, I think. I don't even know anymore with the social medias. Instagram us on Twitter. Is that even legal? There's no answer. And there's no answer for the offense. So Rams fans need to bring it next week against Minnesota. The season rolls on, and every game is every playoff game. Big stuff. And today, with everything on the line, the Rams got it done.